All right, good morning, everyone. And my name is Wayne, and I'm your host for this morning. I'm from Ogilvy, the agency of GoDaddy. And on behalf of GoDaddy, we welcome you to today's Make a Different Future webinar, where our entrepreneur speakers and our GoDaddy experts share insights on how to create a strong online business presence, a strong business presence online. To kick things off, I turn you over to Norman Barrientos, GoDaddy's Marketing Director for Southeast Asia, to begin the program.
Thank you for the introduction, Wayne, and good morning to everyone. For those of you joining us for the first time and those who don't know us yet, GoDaddy is the place where everyday entrepreneurs can actually name their idea, build their websites, attract customers, and sell their products and services, and of course, manage their work every day. This year, as we have launched our new campaign, we want to invite you and all the everyday entrepreneurs to make a different future with us. We have all the help and the tools that our everyday entrepreneurs need. And for this session, we want to highlight what these are. With that, let me introduce my fellow speakers for today. So with me, we have Pearl De Guzman, who is the founder of Saps and winner of our Project Go Season 1. We have Tina Lagdameo, our longtime partner, user of GoDaddy, who is also the co-owner of My Honest Junk. We have Jade Tambun, our expert GoDaddy guide. And of course, we have Ben, who's our senior security analyst. So today we're just going to talk about some few key items. We are going to talk about some key insights about the entrepreneurs in the Philippines. And we're also going to go through some of the key tips to help our everyday entrepreneurs succeed online that will be shared by our other co-speakers and experts. So first off, across the globe, Filipinos are one of the largest populations using the internet. They've seen that a lot of us have been using at least the internet for at least an average of 10 hours every day. And the new normal has generally shifted how business owners see the role of online technology. From that of being able to offer convenience in customer transactions, a nice to have, or to help establish credibility, to becoming an integral part of the business and even very essential to keep the businesses afloat. Along with the shift, business owners have already started looking ahead on how tech can help with their businesses, such as the use of websites, e-commerce solutions, and learning more how to leverage social media to generate more leads and to do more. So amidst the lockdowns that you all have been experiencing, brought about by this new normal, it's important to emphasize there still lies opportunity for growth. And while entrepreneurs have realized the importance of online tools to strengthen and expand their businesses, it is critical to be equipped with the right knowledge and tools to make a successful business future online. That's why we want to leverage this session to actually share some of those key points. And speaking of tools, last April, we have launched our e-store as a relevant tool and response to the needs of the market and of the everyday entrepreneurs. This actually incorporated the key features critical in taking businesses online. And this actually adds to the line of websites and stores and other relevant tools that we offer in the market, such as website security or SSL, marketing tools, including our emails, digital marketing suite, content and photo creators, and a lot more. With that, I'll turn you over to my co-speakers to share their learnings and insights, having successfully leveraged their websites to spur their business continuity and take on the digital marketplace.
All right, thanks for that, Norman. Thank you for kicking things off this morning. Marketing your business online is crucial in engaging customers and, of course, driving sales. To share more about how to market your business online, we turn you over to Pearl De Guzman, owner of Saps and the winner of Project Go Season 1.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Pearl De Guzman. I'm the owner of Saps, and we're a service-based business. We actually offer content creation and SEO to a lot of businesses and entrepreneurs in the market. I would actually want to acknowledge what Norman said about the pandemic. If before we are actually investing in a physical storefront, now we have to invest in our online presence. One of the things that the pandemic has done is that we have an opportunity now to be spending our to be having smaller capital in terms of building our own businesses, in terms of venturing our own businesses in the online space, because one, there are now more affordable and more accessible tools to do this, and number two, there are of course lower capital costs in terms of building our own business, so you don't have to put up a physical storefront, or in our case an office where people can visit us and offer our services. So if we are used to investing a physical store, now we can get to the online space. The only question now is, which channel should you use to market your business online? And noticeably, a lot of businesses actually resort to putting up accounts in different various platforms without even having their own website. And I'm actually guilty of this too. I've been running around servicing, offering and promoting my services to a lot of platforms. And it was actually very exhausting trying to run around and boosting your profiles. And one of the things that I've actually remembered was my brother saying that he actually started also selling online. And one of the things that he did was to make it so convenient and easy for him. One of the disadvantages of having an account on an e-commerce platform is that when you scroll down to the bottom of the page, customers actually see different or similar products that they're offering, and they're actually offered by your competitors. So instead of having the exclusive attention of your customers to your products, you now are competing with other people who are also offering the same products or services in the same space. So before I was able to realize that, it took me a webinar to actually realize that why am I actually not investing in a website myself? Why am I trying to compete with a lot of other providers wherein I can actually also fish for my own clients who are actually interested in already services and products that I'm offering. So one of the things that he said was, when getting customers, we're like fishing for clients in a pond. And when you're trying on different platforms to fish for customers, it's like fishing for customers in a different pond that is not yours. And eventually, the market can get saturated. People can get into the same space. They can get more clients than you. So, what do you do then? What happens when the pond runs out? And then you jump to another platform or to another pond where you can get more customers. And if you think about it, it's not really very sustainable. It's very tiring and exhausting to be able to go into different ponds, right? So why don't you just create your own backyard pond? So this is the importance of having your own website. Before you go out and venture to other platforms, you need to have your own website where you can nurture your customers and be able to manage a customer journey. So one of the important things here is that when people go to your website, it means that they already have an interest in your products or services. So higher interest means there's also a higher chance of converting that prospect into an actual paying customer, right? Number two is that you would be investing in a website, right? That's correct. But then you don't have to always shell out big investments on your website once you already have that up and going. So how can you optimize your website? The first thing that you have to do when you want to optimize your website is that you have to optimize it for SEO. So with SEO, you're also increasing the visibility of your website on Google and other search engines. So that means people can see your website when they search on Google, and that means you also have higher chances of getting more views on your website. So if you want to optimize your website for SEO, first is you have to do on page. On-page SEO means also checking for the right keywords. What are the terms or search terms that people are typing on Google for your specific industry or service? For us, since we are a B2B company, we actually wanted to revamp our SEO. And recently, we've just done this. We've actually done an audit of our website. And one of the things that really surprised us is that we thought that it would actually take us a long time to be able to get it up and running after the initial audit, because we're actually used to installing different plugins before. And now that we are actually using the website GoDaddy website builder, we're very surprised that it has already integrated the SEO tool. So it was very easy for us to just plug in whatever we needed to optimize the website in the back end. So that's one of the things that you should also consider when getting your own website. Is it easy for you to manage your back end? Is it easy for you to optimize your website? So if you're not as tech savvy as other people, or you do not have an extensive knowledge in development or programming, you should also consider something that's very user friendly and convenient for you to use. For us, it was really a matter of a few days of really getting the website up and running. We've also changed the design of the website, and took us about 2 days to actually completely overhaul the website. So apart from optimizing it by on page, you also have to think about the off page. Off page is link building. This is actually what the type of service that we are offering. Off page is like asking websites to vouch for your business sites, because Google takes these cues that your website is actually authoritative. It means that you are credible to be sharing information about the services or the products that you're offering, or in the industry that you're in. So once that you already have established your SEO, you can go about doing email marketing. Email marketing is something that you can also do with your website. You can collect emails from your customers. You can ask them to opt in to your newsletters. Some people would say email newsletters are not really as effective as they used to before, but a lot of people are still checking out their emails. And you can use lead magnets to do this. If you've seen quizzes or you've answered reports on the internet, they are called lead magnets, and they ask you to sign to give your email. That's one of the things that you can do to be able to grow your customer base or your list. So now that you are already established your website, that's the only time that you can actually consider going to other investing into other platforms. So once you have that, you can also go into social media. Social media is one of the people are actually well actually the first thing, you have a lot of social media that you can use. You have Facebook, you have Twitter, Pinterest, you have Instagram, now you also have TikTok. But then when you also go into social media, you also have to think about what is the product that you're offering, or what is the service that you're offering. Are you a service-based business like us, or are you offering customers a product? So you have to think about the type of customer that you're serving. Are these people mostly visiting TikTok? Are they on Facebook? So for us, since they were a service-based business, we're offering small businesses, we're catering to small businesses and entrepreneurs. Facebook and TikTok or Twitter is not really exactly the best place for us to promote our business online. We would definitely much more consider LinkedIn and doing more on Google search or Google paid ads. So you also have to think about those things when you try to market or promote your business online. So not just because there are a lot of options to choose from, you should be on each platform. So it's better to focus your resources on a platform that really works best for you and for your customers. All right. So once you're done with social media channels, you can also do LinkedIn, influencer marketing. It's also one of the things that you can take into account. You can also ask the help of influencers, especially if it's a product, or if it's a business, you can ask the help of business gurus who have already tried your services. So once you've tried also that, you can also do PPC, or pay-per-click campaigns. These are the paid ads. These are the platforms that you can usually use: Facebook ads, Google ads. These are the ones that has a campaign and has a set amount or budget that you bid. So this is actually one of the things that I would say you should go last in your list in terms of marketing strategies. One is because it can be very costly, because it's actually a bidding war with other competitors in the same space. So you need to be shelling out more money if you want to get to the top of the screen or the results page of Facebook or other platforms. So from there, you can also try other advertising options. So if you will ask me if which is better, if it's paid ads or organic traffic, definitely it's better to build your own organic traffic first. And then when you combine it with other platforms or other paid strategies, that's the time that you can actually optimize or boost your promotions online. So that's it for me. If you have any other questions, you can actually ask us later on about promoting your business online. And we hope that you were able to actually pick up a few things in terms of applying this to your business. I know that the next speaker would be able to share more a lot about how they were able to apply these strategies to their own business. So
Right.
thank you.
Thank you very much, Pearl. And that was certainly enlightening. I now understand how SEO works much better than I did prior to the presentation. All right. To share more about her entrepreneurial journey and the importance of driving customers to a business website, let's hear from Tina Lagdameo, co-owner of Honest Junk.
Hi, everyone. Thank you all for inviting me. Thank you, GoDaddy, for inviting me to be part of this. And nice to meet everyone here. So I will talk about my experience as an entrepreneur in the digital world. So my name is Tina Lagdameo, and I am the co-founder of Honest Junk. So basically, what is Honest Junk? Just a brief background before I get into the specifics of Honest Junk's evolution. It's a mom and pop, a small company. It's founded by my friend and I. We're two mothers who wanted to foray into a healthy snack line. So we're both moms who are conscious of what we give our kids. And when we looked around in the market, we saw, wow, it's very expensive to feed your kids the healthy snack. So we looked around and said, let's make our own and highlight what's found here in the Philippines. So we make use of, let's say, malunggay, which is a superfood that is much more affordable compared to kale. We wanted to make flavors that showcase gummy bears that showcase Philippine flavors, like we have calamansi, dalandan, mango, mangosteen. So all these gummy bear flavors you don't really find elsewhere, but are very yummy, and actually for me even yummier than a typical orange gummy bear, let's say. So with that in mind, we created Honest Junk. It's mostly fat-free, vegan, gluten-free, but not taste-free. When developing the product, we made sure that it didn't taste like it didn't taste bland, it didn't taste like the earth, or it didn't taste like the soil. And we used actually our kids as guinea pigs. And when we would give them something to try, if their eyes lit up, without telling them that this was like a healthy version, and their eyes lit up, we knew we had a winner. And so we created affordable, yummy and enticing snacks, and hence Honest Junk. And we've been around for about 4 years now. So when we created Honest Junk, here's our evolution. We started out like any small entrepreneur. We started out selling through Instagram and having a link to our Google Docs form. And from there, people could order. But we knew this was a stopgap measure because, number one, it's Honest Junk. Google Docs is not very versatile. So the more products you have, the more difficult it is. The page will be so long and it's not very flexible. So in about 6 months' time, right away, we launched our first version of our website. And quickly, we learned many things once we launched that and said, okay, we need to revamp this right away. Because, when we launched the website, we also had our version of secret shoppers from different ages, from what we call the titas of Manila to the younger ones. And we got their feedback. And then from there, we created another website, and hence the current one that we are using today, but is also constantly being updated. So our sales channels, I would say Honest Junk is primarily an e-commerce brand. Actually, it was created to be an e-commerce brand as compared to a typical food brand where you start out with a brick and mortar presence. We wanted to go the other way and start out in the internet, and then from there our sales channels would be in brick and mortar stores. So even when creating the product, we had, handling issues. We created packaging with it being in mind that it was going to be sold in the internet. So from the website, then we branched out into other e-commerce marketplaces. We also have retail partners, like-minded retail partners. And then we also have wholesale partners, mostly outside the NCR region. Being a brand in the e-commerce phase world, we knew that we needed both social media and the website to help build our brand and to help build our business. So obviously we have our Instagram accounts, our Facebook accounts, and everything. The primary role for our social media is to drive the site, to drive to our website. And other roles are like announcements. So if we have, let's say, a payday, or if we have co-branding, like let's say the second photo is a co-branding with Encanto Brewery. We have customer engagement, so we do a lot of polls on our Instagram, where when we launch something or we're thinking of launching something, we ask our clients what their opinions are. So we also have a lot of customer feedback, which we post to show the goodwill in the brand. Now that hopefully social media has done its role and has led them to our website, the website's role is really sales, to drive sales. So basically everything there is hopefully an add to cart image that will really make them want to buy. Also, the website is there to showcase what else the brand offers. Many times social media is really just the tip of the iceberg of the brand. And then when they get onto the website, that's when they realize, oh, they have all these other things. Aside from their gummy bears, they have cheese bars and they have cookies, they have gift boxes, all these things. Also product details like all the food claims, all the Nutri-Facts, which are difficult to really showcase in your social media, also because once you post something, everything gets drowned out, all previous posts. It's also customer service, so we do have our chat bots in our website where they can reach us if they have any concerns. And also we do have microsites when we have PR campaigns and a QR code that leads them to these microsites where we showcase anything from a CSR program or a tie-up. So once they get on the website, they can see we added many things like customization. So they can see, like you can see here, we have gift boxes where you can customize it based on event, what your budget, flavors, occasions, all these things. If you want to add a note card, you can do that on our website. We also have lots of tie-ups, like let's say this is a tie-up between, we have gummy spikes. So these are actually gummy bears infused with alcohol, because Honest Junk believes in moderation as well. So it's, gifting maybe the parents with a little break. So we came up with this tie-up with top 3 local world-class brands, Arc Botanicals, Don Papa, and Encanto. So everything in this website when we launched was all about this from top to bottom. We customized it based on this program, and we had a lot of fun doing this. So here is a sample of a QR code where it led to another campaign where we benefits of purchasing certain items went to Kai Foundation, giving masks for kids with cancer. So that was last year. Another thing is gift with purchase. We noticed that this really helps increase our average basket size And once they add to cart and see all these fun things that they actually can get, it really makes them want to reach that average check to get the free items. And with that, with all these things that we've added to our website, you can actually see that our website is really the biggest proponent for our sales. Everything else falls around it. So it's almost half. Even our basket size compared to the different marketplaces is much bigger compared to the others. Even our bounce rate is a lot lower compared to the different marketplaces, where, because in the different marketplaces we really are just a small fish in the big ocean. So at least once they get to the website, it's captured audience. Everything that about Honest Junk is there. And so I would say that the benefit of having our website is, number one, definitely it's a sales driver. We're able to increase sales. Mobility and flexibility, we're really able to customize it based on on the calendar for the year that we've set. So from Christmas to Halloween, Independence Day, we're able to customize it based on that. And most importantly, during this pandemic, it really has allowed us to have a storefront and stay afloat, and even more during this pandemic. So we're very lucky that Honest Junk was really made to be an e-commerce company. And during the pandemic, we just really enhanced the customer journey and continue to make it better as much as we can. So that is the story of Honest Junk and how honestjunk.com has really helped us today. So thank you everyone for listening.
All right, thank you very much, Tina, for that quite inspiring session. And it's also inspiring me to add to cart with all the yummy pictures. All right. On to our next topic, which is also just as important as snacks, is the importance of having a secure website. So, of course, we want website security is an important aspect that entrepreneurs must know. And to talk about the different tools available for business owners, let's hear from Jade from the GoDaddy Guides team.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jade from GoDaddy Care. I'm one of the GoDaddy guides, and I will be speaking about the importance of online security, especially for online businesses. Now, I always get inspired by stories of online entrepreneurs, especially after listening to what Pearl and Tina presented earlier. I'm also particularly proud of the work that I do in GoDaddy, especially in helping our everyday entrepreneurs. Now, the past year has changed how a lot of small businesses reach their customers. More than ever, small and medium businesses have taken advantage of the internet to sell their products as well as offer their services. But as many businesses begin exploring what the internet can do for them, there's often one very important thing that they overlook, and that is security. Now, why would an entrepreneur care about online security? Well, basically, it's for the same reason why any business would need security. You want to protect your source of income. Could you imagine, for example, a store owner leaving their stores at the end of the day without locking their doors? That's pretty much unthinkable, right? They would never ever do that. Here's the thing: if you have an online store, just like your physical store, your online store also requires the same kind of protection. Now, the protection of a business person's online property investment is something that every entrepreneur should consider. If ever you encounter loss or damages on your own online property because of the various vulnerabilities and malicious software that you can get online, those losses can cost as much as physical loss on your business. And it does not affect just your revenue, but can also affect your brand as well as the image of your business. And these days that we hear stories about online scams and identity theft, a lot of netizens are becoming more conscious of the need for our own security as well. And we definitely should be more conscious of those things. So for business owners, they would definitely want to show their customers that their business is legit and trustworthy. Now, say for example, we have our online or everyday entrepreneur. They might ask something like, "Hey, I have a website hosted in GoDaddy. Isn't my website hosting already protecting me?" And to be honest, that's a fair question. Now, the companies like GoDaddy that host websites or online stores do provide some protection to our customers' online presence. But that protection is actually quite limited. Like, I'd like us to think about this analogy. Think about renting a stall inside a bigger building. Now, the building owner will protect their tenants, their business tenants, from some dangers that could affect the building they are in. For example, the business owners will set up smoke detectors throughout the building. But a building owner cannot protect what's happening inside the tenant's store. So say for example, inside that building, there are many restaurants. And in one of the restaurants, there's a cook who accidentally caused a fire. And fortunately, it's a small fire, but it damaged the section of a kitchen within that restaurant. Now, the building owner themselves could not prevent that kind of damage from happening in the first place. So the same is true online. The content of your business, your business website, and your online store is the property and the investment of the entrepreneur, of the site owner. And as a site owner, you should protect the source of your income. Now, okay, so our everyday entrepreneur now is thinking about online security, and they might.
Ito, hindi kasali. Yay.
Hi, Ed.
Ha?
I think I can hear you. Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. So. Hey guys, I hope you can hear me now.
Yep.
Okay, so let's go back to our everyday entrepreneur, and they're already thinking about online security. So there's a lot of things to think about, and one of the things that they're wondering is where do they start? Well, I'm glad that you guys invited me here because I can definitely help you there. Here are some key areas where an everyday entrepreneur can begin in securing their online presence. The first one is they should very frequently visit the admin panel of their website at least once a month and update their website software and extensions to the latest versions. You want to make sure that you're doing that maintenance and update work on your website frequently. Second, you might want to set up website monitoring. So the website monitoring can scan, can remove, and block malicious software that might creep their way into your website. Now, another thing that you can do is set up an SSL certificate, add it to your website so that it can protect sensitive customer data that is submitted to the website. And one thing we should remember is all customer data, whether it's their emails, their names, their shipping address, and especially their credit card detail, all of that customer data is sensitive data. An additional benefit of an SSL certificate is it puts that secure padlock icon on your website, so it shows your customers that you're legit, you're trustworthy. Now, another thing that you might want to consider to protect your business online is to make sure your online files are getting backed up every day. I'm pretty sure a lot of us here have at some point lost data because of maybe our cell phones getting wiped out. So anyone who has ever felt that loss after having our smartphone getting wiped out would know that one can never have enough data backups. And finally, you might want to make sure that you also protect your website address. The domain or the website address of your website is how your customers will connect to your business, especially online. It's kind of like the brand name that you have on the internet. And because that's the name that you have on the internet, it's very important and you want to make sure it's protected, it's not going to be lost, and you're not going to, nobody's going to be stealing that from you. Now, that's a lot of things that I've covered there. And here's something good that I would like to share. Many of the hosting options in GoDaddy Philippines, they already have many of these features built in. And this is going to help our everyday entrepreneurs get started with online security. And even better, say for example, you have an everyday entrepreneur who's currently not in GoDaddy, they can still take advantage of many of GoDaddy's security products. The online security that's available in GoDaddy Philippines can also work in many other kinds of websites, even those that are not hosted in GoDaddy. So we in GoDaddy Care are more than happy to answer questions from our everyday entrepreneurs about online security. And one thing that I hope we can get out of this presentation is that it's never too early to improve on the security of our online investments to protect our source of income. And in behalf of GoDaddy Care, thank you everyone for joining us today.
All right, thank you very much, Jade, for sharing with us the kinds of tools that we need to take note of if we have an online business. Now, to talk about the impact of security threats to online businesses as well as tips on maintaining website security, we have here all the way from Canada, Ben Martin, Senior Website Security Analyst for GoDaddy.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ben. I'm from Victoria, British Columbia, Canada, and I'm going to go into a little bit more detail of security issues with websites. So just hold on one quick moment while I share my screen here. All right, can everybody see my screen? Yes? Okay, cool.
Yes.
So I'm a senior security analyst with GoDaddy. I analyze malware and clean websites for a living. I work with a lot of e-commerce websites, and I've dealt with a lot of security issues and malware over the years, a lot of credit card swipers and kind of scary stuff. And I'm going to share some of my knowledge with you. So this is how to maintain a secure website. So number one, we need to be aware of the security threats that are present on the web. Number one, of course, being malware. Your website, if compromised, could be used to infect the visitors to the computers of your visitors. Sorry, yes, computers of your visitors, and with Trojan horses or redirect them to spam sites or scams or stuff like that, and nothing that you really want your website to be doing to your website visitors. The content of your website can be misused to display spam, like knockoff pharmaceutical products or essay writing services, that sort of thing. Phishing could be placed within the site files, and spam emails sent out to get people to enter their banking details or Netflix login or Facebook login or something like that. And in more serious cases, if you have an e-commerce website, quite often actually there's malware that can siphon off the credit card details, and they are then sold on the black market, which is of course not anything you want to happen to your customers. So the effects that this can have on your website and business can be very damaging. It's very common, especially with phishing and credit card swipers. Antivirus companies will blacklist your domain. Google will block your website from being accessed. The visitors will get a big, scary red warning sign when trying to access your website. In the case of spam especially, this can damage your search engine optimization, which many website owners pay a lot of money to optimize. And that can be, the effects to that can last for months, if not longer. I've also dealt with clients who have had to pay thousands of dollars in fines to Visa or MasterCard because of credit card theft happening on their website. And of course, it'll hurt your website's reputation, and clients won't want to return. They won't trust your website anymore. I think that's kind of really what it comes down to is trust at the end of the day. So security can have malware, and security issues can have a lasting and negative impact on your website. So of course, that begs the question, how do websites get hacked in the first place? Overwhelmingly, the #1 cause of this is vulnerable software. So a piece of software can be considered secure one day and then a liability the next. New vulnerabilities are discovered basically every week, and websites need to be updated pretty much sometimes every single day, and they require a lot of heavy maintenance basically. Brute force attacks are common, especially when not very good passwords are used. So a brute force attack is where the attackers will use kind of dictionary-based attacks to try every single possible password until they get in. Lack of good security practices on the part of website owners is a kind of endemic issue with website security that I see a lot. And we need to keep in mind that the good guys need to win all the time, and the bad guys just need to get lucky once. They tend to get more lucky with low-hanging fruit. And I'm going to share a couple tips with you on how to not be a low-hanging fruit. So, how do I prevent my website from getting hacked? That's the million-dollar question. So #1 is just really basic stuff. Like keeping your website software up to date, keeping it patched, keeping your plugins updated, keep your theme updated, keep your core CMS files updated. This is by far the most important thing that you can do to not be a low-hanging fruit. A lot of business owners and a lot of website owners that I've worked with, they have a website kind of out of necessity. They're not necessarily super tech savvy. They don't understand the ins and outs of how to properly maintenance and maintain their website. They have a website because they need to get to their customers online, and of course all of your competitors have websites, so you need one too. And this puts website owners and business owners into sometimes a difficult position where they are now tasked with maintaining this website that they don't necessarily feel comfortable doing themselves. So if you are that person, then I would highly recommend hiring a website developer or website administrator, a professional that knows what they're doing. And then if something breaks, then it can be fixed. A lot of people have kind of anxiety about working with their websites. They don't want to break it. They don't understand how it works. But I would try to avoid this anxiety if possible. Be proactive, be on top of things, and make sure your website is patched and protected. It's very common for new vulnerabilities to be released and exploited very quickly. So sometimes even a matter of hours can make the difference. I'd also strongly recommend the use of strong passwords. That's going to really help mitigate a lot of risk on your website. It's also worth mentioning that there's no really such thing as a perfectly secure website. It's about risk reduction, not risk elimination. So the ways that you can reduce your risk as much as possible, which is the goal here, is #1, starting from the beginning, is to use a secure hosting environment. So as the previous presenter had mentioned, GoDaddy does take care of the server security, but the website security is its own thing, and that kind of falls in your lap as a website owner, which I now return to making sure that you're working with a experienced website administrator or developer to take care of your website. A big problem with website security and malware especially is the existence of cross-site contamination. And what is that? So In cPanel, there are things called add-on domains. So you can, if you have maybe 5 different websites, 6 different websites, you can add those additional domains into your cPanel interface. And this creates an environment where you might have one domain for your main business. It's your main website. That's the one that you care about the most. And that's the one that you put the most kind of work and effort and love into. And then you have these 4 or 5 other websites that you kind of forget about. You don't really pay much attention to them. Those other sites are the risk, basically. So if things aren't maintained properly on those other websites, if they become infected, they can infect the whole environment. So when you're setting up your hosting with GoDaddy, make sure that you keep this in mind and limit as many add-on domains as possible, and make sure that all of the websites that are under your employ get routine maintenance done, because it's when the sites start to gather dust is when problems start to happen. So password security is another major issue. Most people tend to choose a password based on their ability to remember it easily. And this causes problems, because if it's easy to remember, it's also sometimes easier to guess or to brute force, as it were. So passwords should be long and complex. I would recommend using a secure password generator when you are setting up your passwords. It's very common. I see people will use a dictionary word followed by a number, maybe a special character if they're feeling crazy. And this, again, creates a very easily hacked environment. And of course, a lot of people experience password fatigue, and I don't really need to explain what that is. I think we all kind of know what that feels like. It's exhausting, having to remember all these passwords on all these different services. And so the way to avoid such fatigue is to use a password manager like LastPass. There's many different ones that you can use as browser extensions, and then you don't even have to know what your passwords are. It'll just plug it in for you. It reduces a lot of stress. So those of you who have websites already will know that there's always an administration panel, and there are a lot of different ways that you can make it more difficult for attackers to compromise. Things like using 2-factor authentication and CAPTCHAs are very useful. You can install plugins to limit login attempts. And if you are a user of our firewall service, you can also lock things down with a second password, only allow certain IP addresses to access the admin panel, and a lot of other features that just make your life a lot easier and make the lives of the attackers much more frustrating, which is, of course, what we want. So you'll always want to make sure that you're using a web firewall and a backup service as well. Accidents happen, things break sometimes. It's always good to have the peace of mind knowing that you have a backup ready to go and restore if, for a rainy day. It's nice to have that kind of stored away back there just in case. You never know what's going to happen. There are, of course, a lot of security plugins and whatnot that you can install on your website, but by far the most secure thing that you can do for that is to install configure a website firewall, and that serves as a barrier between the attackers and your website, so that the malicious traffic doesn't actually even touch your web server at all. It also has an added benefit of being a content distribution network, so it'll make sure your website loads quickly from all areas of the world. And it just makes it a much more pleasant experience for your website visitors, because when you click, you want it to respond quickly, and the firewall can also help make that happen too. So to review, how do we prevent hacks? Number one, consider security a priority from day one. Most of the people that I work with, I find, don't even think about security at all until they get hacked, and then the sky's falling, and it's the worst possible thing that could possibly happen. So if you consider security to be a priority from day one, you're going to remove a lot of the element of surprise if something bad does happen, and you'll be prepared, and you won't panic, right? So always make sure to keep that in mind from the very beginning of when you're setting up your business, the website for your business. And of course, make sure either you or a website administrator is doing routine maintenance on your website. This is sometimes a daily thing that you need to do that just kind of goes with that's just part of owning a website. And of course, have good password, strong passwords, limit admin access as much as you possibly can, and use a secure hosting environment with firewall and backups, and you can successfully reduce your risk pretty much as much as you can once you do that. And there you have it.
All right. Thank you very much, Ben, for letting us know and sharing tips on how we can keep winning against the bad guys.
My pleasure.
All right. So everyone, now is the time for us to be able to ask our questions to our panel. If you have questions, feel free to type them in the chat and we'll read them for you. And we will be directing them to our speakers. Also, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of Pam Portin from GoDaddy's Director of International Communications from GoDaddy, who is joining us also from the US. So without further ado, I'll first ask the first question from Joel Pinarok of newsbytes.ph. Direct this to Norman. Can very small micro companies like SMEs also benefit from having an online presence? What would be the cost for a very small company to have this type of online presence?
All right, so we're gonna have several responses to this. So I'll just go very top line and turn over to some of our GoDaddy Guide experts as well. But to answer this question first, yes, the answer is yes. It can benefit the micro SMEs. In fact, most of our products are catered to the small business entrepreneurs or small business owners. eStore, as I've mentioned before, is one of those things where we've launched last April, especially focusing on retail type of businesses. But in terms of what are the key products and what's the cost, there would be a lot of elements that would go hand in hand that needs to be considered in terms of starting your online presence. So it would really depend on what specific type of business do you have, because you need to consider, for example, domains, the hosting security, and the website builder type that you need to use. So it will really need to depend on what specific features you want to highlight are critical to your business. Jade, Janilu, feel free to jump in as well.
Hey, okay, so I actually sent a few answers earlier. So first, I would like to echo what Tina mentioned earlier in her presentation. If you have a business website, that's one of its main advantages is you get a captured audience. So you have that audience ready to be able to learn more about your business. And another benefit of that for a site owner is you have better control of your branding if you have your own website. But even if you don't have your own website, other forms of online presence can still benefit you, like social media profiles, for example, because having that kind of online presence makes it easy for your customers to share about your business online. So it makes word of mouth advertising so much faster. So a second part of that question is what would be the cost for a very small company to have some online presence? Well, it really depends on the kind of business that you have. So some businesses, if they are service-based or appointment-based, they probably would require less investments for that. But if your business is more product-based, then you probably need to invest a little bit more, because to sell products online, you need a more complex kind of online infrastructure. But regardless of what kind of business that you have, any business owner can benefit by starting with a .com. Get a .com. A .com would cost you like 1,000 pesos or less than 1,000 pesos per year. And you can use that as the starting point for your online presence. You can use that as your website address or your email address for your business. Or you can even use it to forward to your social media pages.
All right, thank you, Norman. Thank you, Jade. To our friends from the press, feel free to unmute if you want to ask your questions, type it in the chat, or if you want us to call you, you can also click the raise hand button so that we can ask your questions to our panel.
Wayne, just to also jump in, it's not just questions and answers are not as available via this platform or the webinar, if you suddenly realize you have other questions, we also have our Facebook Messenger available that will connect you to our experts online as well. So if there's specific product or how to start your online presence, what would be the good fit, feel free to visit us at GoDaddy Asia via Facebook and just click on the send message, so we can also answer your specific questions around products or other things.
Thanks for that additional resource, Norman. To our friends from the press, if you have any questions. All right, so let me facilitate by directing a question to our entrepreneurs. What were the initial challenges in creating a website that you experienced, and how were you able to manage it? I'll start first with Tina.
Finding a good web programmer was difficult for me. I think I had to switch twice or even thrice until I found someone that was willing to execute our vision properly. Because sometimes they'll just do it their way without really taking into account, what your needs are as a website, as an entrepreneur. So that was difficult for me, more than the actual visual of the website and the graphic artist. It was the web programmer.
Right. So for Pearl.
Actually, I had the same problem, similar to Tina. It was really a problem finding a web developer. At first, actually, since I didn't have a lot of budget to start with, I tried to learn building a website on my own. And at that time, I didn't have a lot of options to choose from. All I thought was that if you want to build a website, you have to figure out all the pieces and you have to put it all together. And it's one of the things that I really had a hard time doing. So just having a one-stop shop, like a provider that can give you all of this in one go, is really a relief for a lot of entrepreneurs, especially for those who are just starting their businesses.
All right, so I will direct this question to Jade. As a GoDaddy guide, what kind of what do you tell customers who have a hard time creating websites, especially with GoDaddy's easy-to-use tools and templates?
Okay, so that's a really good question. Thank you for asking that. I know for an everyday entrepreneur, starting a website can be daunting at first, but the important thing is you should know, what do you want your website to accomplish. So starting with knowing what you want your visitors to do on your website, what do they want to see, is going to make things so much easier. Because once you describe it to a GoDaddy guide, for example, then we can tell you, oh, this is how you do it on our site builder. You might want to go here. So, oh, you want to do this? You can go to this section. So knowing what you want to do on your website, that's probably the starting point that I would recommend.
Thank you, Jade. Okay, the next question is from Patricia Marisol of Business World. I'll direct this to Norman. How many small businesses in the Philippines have availed of GoDaddy's e-store service since it launched last April? And what has been the initial feedback of these clients?
Okay, thanks for the question, Patricia. For the actual numbers, we'll just get back to you on that one. But as far as the feedback from the customers that we've received qualitatively, right, in terms of seeing the features in action, there's a lot of excitement around it, primarily in terms of the capability to connect or integrate with the social media platforms, as well as the marketplace, where they can actually centrally manage some of their accounts for the well-known marketplaces in Southeast Asia.
Right, thanks for that, Norman. Okay. Right, I'd like to direct this next question to our entrepreneurs. What has been the most rewarding thing about your website currently? Let's start first with Pearl.
For me, like I've mentioned, we were able to, it's very flexible to change your website or revamp it any way that you wanted to. So since we wanted to change the design and the aesthetic of the website, we were able to do that with just the team utilizing the website builder. So it's one of the things that we're really appreciate about the builder. So we're able to optimize SEO and everything else. We didn't have to hire someone to be able to do that for us. So we're able to save a lot of money for it as well.
Right. So Tina?
For me, it was seeing our brand come to life. So it was culminating of everything from our packaging, from our photographs, to telling our story. It was all found in one place, which is our website.
All right, thanks for that, Tina. All right, the next question is from Raymond of megabytes.com.ph. For the available templates on your e-store, can the web developer add plugins and change the layout? So I guess I'll direct this to Jade again, our GoDaddy guide.
Okay, so thank you, Raymond, for asking that question. Now, if you so regarding the e-store, for a very experienced web developer, you might find some limitations on what it can do. The e-store is intended for people who are building their websites for the first time and probably don't have a web developer of their own. It was intended for entrepreneurs who are like that. Like they want to do DIY their website basically. So there are some things that you can't do, like you can't probably add plugins. However, if you do have a very experienced web developer that is building the website for you, I'm happy to tell you that there are other hosting options available in GoDaddy. Like we have Managed WordPress, we have cPanel. So we do have different types of hostings depending on your technical skill level. So if you have a web developer who would like to add all of those shebang on your website, we have options for those as well.
I think also there's someone who can add more to that, Jenny Lou from the GoDaddy Guides team as well.
Okay, hi everyone. Jenny here too from GoDaddy. So with that, I would agree with Jay that we do offer a lot of hosting plans. And for eStore, I guess I would say that this is mainly for those small entrepreneurs who doesn't have no time focusing more on their website, so they can focus more on their business in terms of generating revenues. So this is actually designed for those micro or small entrepreneurs who just really want to get started developing their businesses online. I would also like to highlight, I wasn't able to acknowledge the question of Joel earlier, but that's actually a great starter question for this, for this agenda. Current situation where most businesses, mainly MSMEs, they're being affected by the pandemic. Right. So with all the needs being available in the internet right now or in the digital world, this can be offered as an opportunity to recover, transitioning those shops that you have, whether you're offering physical products or digital products. So this is actually where you can transition it to the digital. So it's mostly on easier way of building your website. So for those who want to like tweak the templates or add more to it, like what Jade said, we would also like to encourage you looking at our different hosting options.
All right, thank you very much, Jade and Jen.
Sure.
Okay, so any more questions from our friends from the press? Okay, we got here a question from Lucky Magno of Daily Dose. If the question is for Tina and Pearl, how did you face the limitations of having a business online, such as the lack of personal touch? Of course, they can't see the product physically, and order fulfillment challenges, delivery time, as well as telco infrastructure issues. And then there's a second question, which I'll direct to the GoDaddy team, is that how can GoDaddy help SMEs address these limitations? All right, so let's start first with Pearl.
Well, for me, actually, there's not a lot of limitations since we're a service-based business. And mainly we're offering content creation. So it's something that you can really readily access online. So we only have to provide a portfolio. And actually, the website plays a key role in providing or giving that sense of credibility as a content provider. So I think it's going to be ways how she was able to overcome it.
All right. So Tina.
Yeah, well, it's really difficult for food to, you know, to sell food without utilizing the sense of smell and touch. So really we showcased a lot of client feedback. So it shows a sense of authority, and lots of influencers as well to showcase, you know, in stories them eating and all of that. And then in terms of logistics, yeah, it's an ongoing uphill climb. uh, we still have a lot of problems that we encounter with third party logistics, but it's better now compared to when the pandemic first started, definitely. But yes, it's still something that we encounter on a daily basis, some sort of problem. Even what was the other question? The order fulfillment infrastructure, telco infrastructure issue. So, what do you mean by telco infrastructure?
Internet speeds and maybe people being able to access your website.
Yeah. So far, we haven't really had that issue in terms of you know, our website down. We've been lucky enough to be able to access it anywhere, wherever we are during this pandemic. The whole team has been lucky enough to be able to still work from home and continue working behind the scenes in terms of website development, order fulfillment, and all those things.
Right. So the next question now, I'll direct it to Norman. So how can GoDaddy help SMEs address these particular limitations?
Yeah, so again, we have a slew of options for this, but since eStore is the latest one, and to Jenelu's point, it's there to address the immediate concerns. It's made specifically to be a DIY product, meaning it's there to actually help cater to MSMEs who doesn't have time to actually have someone do it, but they want to do it themselves. So we do it via the products that we offer in the market. So specific to the e-store, the shipping methods, we have several features there, one of which was addressing the concerns on optional shipping methods that can be offered. As part of it was, there's also a recognition on how important social media platforms play in the entrepreneur's journey right now. So those are some of the key features that we've highlighted there, given the needs that we've seen in the market. I'll also just call in Jenelu, just in case there's anything else that you want to cover from the e-store side.
Okay, thanks for that, Norman. That is actually true. So in terms of social media, or in terms of those limitations wherein, you know, they don't see it physically, I guess what's good about having e-store is that you can showcase and sell those products in popular online places. Like they could have a visual on it, not just directly from your website, but you can easily list your products for sale on Facebook, Instagram. I think Pearl did mention that earlier, that it also helps having those to connect with your customers, and not just with the current shoppers that you have, but also reach new customers. And from there, you can also sync your product catalog to your posts, manage orders and inventory. So you really don't have to like work on the back end of having difficulty with those order fulfillment, because eStore got it all for you. So okay, that's all I want to add, Norman.
Thanks, Jade.
Right. Jade will be adding on to that question as well.
Yeah, to add more to what Jen mentioned. So Jen already mentioned that the eStore has an order fulfillment page for our entrepreneurs, so that they can be able to see what are the orders, what are the contents of the orders from their customers. It also has features on like how you can be able to add multiple options for your products. You can categorize them. You can add options for the products like sizing, for example, or colors or flavors. It also is a website building tool that creates a mobile version of your website on the go. because these days a lot of people are actually using their phones to access websites. So we make sure that our site building platform would look good and operates really well, both on a desktop browser as well as a mobile browser.
All right, thank you very much for that, Jade. And that's about all the time that we have. So on behalf of GoDaddy, we'd like to thank our press friends for joining us today for this particular webinar. We'd also like to say thank you to our speakers today, Norman, Pearl, Tina, of course, Jade and Ben, all the way from Canada, for joining us this morning for this particular webinar. With that, we'd like to thank again everyone, and we hope you enjoy the treats that you can get from Honest Chunk, as we will be sending you vouchers as well. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Ciao.
Bye.